Hey, what's up, my algebros? Here we are with our third coding challenge. In a few moments, I will tell you what is it, and we're going to code it in Python, C++, and our new friend Julia. So what is the third coding challenge? It tells us, write a program which will take a list of numbers containing only ones and zeros and count number of blocks in which one is repeated more than once. So here we have a few test cases. For example, in the first one we have 1, 0, 0, 1, 1. Here we have a block in which 1 is repeated more than once, 0, 0, and 1, 1, 1. Another block in which 1 is repeated more than once. So our program should tell us, hey, you have two blocks in which 1 is repeated more than once. Here we have a list containing zeros, so we don't have any blocks in which 1 is repeated more than once. Here we have a single block with 5 ones, so our program should tell us you have one block, and here we have only one, so our program should tell us again that we have only one block. So this is the coding challenge. I suggest you to solve it by yourself and then see the solution in my video. Okay, so here we are in Python. We're going to define a function called coding challenge 3, and it will receive as parameters only x, which will be our list with zeros and ones. We're going to define also a variable called count equal to 0, and we're going to iterate for I in range from 1 until length of x minus 1. So remember, the last element is not included, so actually we are going to iterate through from 1 until length of x minus 2. That will be really the last element. And so we have to be sure that the previous element, x of I minus 1, is equal to 1, and the actual element is equal to 1, and also that the next element is 0. So if these conditions are met, we are going to have a block, and so we have to increment count by 1. Okay, so this won't work if we are approaching to the end of the list. So think about why this won't work if we approach to the end of the list. So we have to take special care if we are in I equal to length of x minus 2. So if we are here, we have to take special care. We have to be sure that the actual element is equal to 1, and also that the next element, that is the last element, will be equal to 1. Okay, so if this happens, we're going to increment the count by 1, and finally we're going to return the count. So let's see, I'm going to press F5, and here in the terminal we're going to we're going to call the function coding challenge 3, and we're going to pass, I don't know, this list. So let's see what this returns. This returns 2. That's correct. We have here 1 1 0 0 and another block 1 1 1. Okay, let's see with another example. So here we have again 2 because this is just 1 1, and we still have these 2 blocks. Okay, so that's the code in Python. Now we're going to do this with Julia. Okay, so here we are with a Jupyter notebook. Remember, we can use Jupyter notebooks with Julia, and we're going to change a little bit the syntax, the logic. We already have it. So let's start. We declare functions in Julia with a keyword function. Then we write the name of the function, coding challenge 3. X is the parameter. Remember, it is a list that contains zeros and ones. We're going to declare our variable count equal to 0, and we're going to do a for loop. Remember, indexes in Julia start at 1, so we have to start this for loop at 2, and the last element is included. Remember, in Python, range, the last element of range is not included. Here, this is the way we do a range in Julia, and the last element is included. So we have to check that the previous element is equal to 1, double ampersand for an AND. We have to check that the actual element is equal to 1, and we have to check that the next element is equal to 0. If this happens, we have to increment count by 1. Okay, and we have to take special care if I is equal to length of x minus 1. In that case, we have to check that the actual element is 1 and that the last element is equal to 1. Then if this happens, we increment count by 1, and we end this if. I forgot that we have to end also this if here, and we have to end this for loop with this keyword end. We have to return count, and lastly we have to say end to the function. So shift enter for this function to work, and in the meantime we're going to call this function coding challenge 3, or we're going to pass this list 1 1 1 0 1. Okay, let's see what is the result of this list. Okay, the result is 2. That's correct. We have here one block, another block, and this only single block that doesn't count. Okay, so that's all for Julia. Now we're going to do the same with C++. Lastly, we are in C++. This will be the most cumbersome code to write, but it doesn't matter. C++ offers lots of advantages with respect to Python and Julia. First, we're going to include this library, IOStream input-output stream for printing. We are also going to include this library vector, which will be useful for declaring dynamic arrays that are called vectors here. And we're going to declare our function coding challenge, which will be of type void. It will not return anything. We could, but we're not going. We're going to change a little bit the structure of this function. It will receive as a parameter a vector of type int called x. Okay, so first we declare our variable count equal to 0. Remember, in C++ we have to declare the type of the variable we're creating. And also we're going to say that n is the size of our vector. So we don't have like a length function here. We could avoid this step, but we're going to use it. Okay, so remember, in C++, indexes start at 0, so we have to start our for loop with 1 until n minus 2, like we did in Python. And so we have to check here that the previous element is equal to 1, that the actual element is equal to 1, and that the next element is equal to 0. If this happens, count, well, here we can use count plus plus, and we have to be careful when I is equal to n minus 2. We have to check here that the actual element is equal to 1 and that the last element is equal to 1 also. So if this happens, count plus plus again. And so we're going to print a message here. We're going to say number of blocks of ones is going to be count, end line. So here we have to create another function, the main function, and we're going to declare our vector of type int called x, and we're going to say enter the numbers of the vectors or -1 to quit. Okay, So why I'm doing this? Because we can't use like a terminal in C++. So we're going to declare this variable a, and we're going to do a do while where we're going to enter the numbers of our vector or list or whatever you want to call it. So while true, what we're going to do, we're going to say, hey user, enter a number, and if a is equal to -1, we're going to break, and if not, then we're going to append this number a to x. How we do this? With the method pushBack. And finally, we are going to call our coding challenge 3 function, and that's all. We compile and execute this program, and hopefully we won't have any errors. Okay, so I'm going to enter the numbers 1100111101 and -1 to quit. And it says the number of blocks of ones is 2. Of course, we have here 1 1 0 0 1 1 1 0, and this single block of 1 that doesn't count. So that's everything, my friends. I hope you like this video. Don't forget to share it, to subscribe, and to like it. See you in the next video.